German submarines of the second series are a big white spot for those interested in the history of submarine warfare. This is especially true of the Type 2IC submarines, about which little is known both technically and operationally. They were born out of the decision of the Kriegsmarine High Command to spend the remainder of the limit on boat construction under the Anglo-German Maritime Agreement of 1935. Then the German Navy was able to legally build submarines. However, the total displacement of its submarine forces could not exceed 45% of the British, equal to 52,700 tons. At the time of the agreement, Germany already had plans to build 36 submarines with a total displacement of 12,500 tons. 2 boats I-series, 24 Y-series, and 10 C-series. Some of them had already been laid down on the slipways of shipyards. Now the Germans had to decide what to spend the rest of the limit, 11,500 tons. This caused a fierce debate between the submarine commander Karl Donitz and the staff of Commander-in-Chief of the Kriegsmarine Erich Raeder. Donitz wanted to spend the remainder on the construction of 23 boats, 7 series. Of course, one the point of view of Raeder. However, later from the construction of large submarine cruisers still refused. Previous plans were revised in favor of laying 8-2, 7-7, and 8-9. The new Type HIC boats were a modified Type JB. However, according to the project, the differences between them almost no differences, only a solid hole lengthened by 2 spats in the area of the central compartment. As a result, the new submarines grew almost a meter and weighed almost 10 tons. The main reason for this change was the intended installation of sonar, which was never realized. On June 17, 1937, the Kriegsmarine Command placed an order at the Kiel shipyard, Deutsche Werke, for the first 4 boats of Type EIC, U-56, U-59. U-57 was laid down on September 14. It took more than 12 months to build. 2 entered the fleet on December 29, 1938. Her commander was Oberleutnant zur See Klaus Kort. As with any crew of a new submarine, the crew of U-57 had a question: what emblem to choose for the boat? The commander presented his idea to the submariners, a drawing of a shark with an open mouth devouring the steamer. Korta's idea was liked by all, but there was a problem with its realization. There was only one person in the crew of the U-57 who could draw something good on paper. The machinist Walter Sattler was good at drawing girls and devils. Kort gave him 2 days to prepare a sketch of the emblem. But when Sattler showed the commander his sketches, he realized that the idea of the shark flies in the tatters. Artist has never seen sharks and did not know how to draw them. Since the sailor's pride did not allow him to invite a specialist from outside, and Sattler could not draw anything else, Kort faced a dilemma: the girl or the devil? He dismissed the first option at once. After revisiting Sattler's drawings, the commander decided on a running red devil with a torch in his hand. The boat crew appreciated the merits of their painter, dubbing Sattler Ivan the Terrible for his formidable devilishness. Thus, the U-57 got its own emblem. On the day of the German attack on Poland, U-57 was in Memel. She was part of a group of boats sent to blockade the Polish coast, but because of the breakdown of Neuss Pellengater Station, its task could not fulfill. On the morning of September 3rd, Kort left Memel for Kiel. The boat arrived at the base in the early hours of September 5th, but went to sea again the same day. This time she was ordered to patrol the waters between Denmark and Sweden at the entrance to the Skagerrak Strait. There, U-57, together with other 2s, guarded Polish ships in case of their breakthrough through the Baltic Straits into the North Sea. In the morning of September 18th, the boat returned to Kiel, where it stood for repairs. Work at the shipyard dragged on for more than a month. Only on October 25th, U-57 left Kiel for a new campaign. The Kort got into the North Sea through the Kiel Channel and took a course to the Shetland Islands. According to the order, the Twin was to operate on shipping lanes off the north coast of Scotland. Since October 2, 1939, German U-boats in the North Sea was allowed to attack without warning vessels identified as enemy. But that didn't mean they could sink anything they wanted. There were many neutral steamers in the North Sea, and attacking them was fraught with diplomatic scandals. Proceeding to the position, U-57 met several lighted Danish and Swedish steamers. Since the vessels were identified by court as neutrals, the boat did not attack them. On the evening of October 29th, while she was west of the Shetland Islands, a vessel sailing without lights appeared in the binoculars of the top watch. An attempt to attack it failed. As the boat made an emergency dive, control was lost. U-57 hit the bottom at a depth of 85 meters. The moment to attack was lost. Court made his first attack the next day. Early in the morning of October 30th, he found another darkened vessel, but released his torpedo and the target did not hit. By evening, the boat had both periscopes out of order. She was forced to return to base and arrived in Kiel on the morning of November 5th. Thus ended her first trip to the North Sea. On November 18th at 4 o'clock in the morning, U-57 left the area of the Nordhinder lighthouse and headed northeast. Court was concerned that her torpedo attacks would attract the attention of enemy anti-submarine forces. Along the way, the boat still encountered many fishing trawlers. As dawn broke, she submerged. Court laid the U-57 on the bottom, giving the crew a rest. At 7 p.m., he surfaced to search for targets, but found no one but fishermen. The boat spent the entire night of November 20th on the surface. The horizon was clear. At 07:30, Court dived to continue hunting in an underwater position, but suddenly found out an unpleasant detail. Two with difficulty held at periscope depth. Stability came only at low speed. At 12:45, the acoustician reported the noise of propellers. Contact was fast approaching. The commander of U-57 immediately announced a torpedo attack. At 13:05, the boat fired its last torpedo at the British from a distance of 400 meters. Even before the salvo, Court gave the command, "All forward," to create a counterbalance to the lightened bow after the torpedo came out. However, immediately after the shot, the boat still surfaced to 11 Malm and showed a periscope out of the water. The actions of the mechanical engineer, who took ballast to equalize the trim, were timely. To level the submarine, Court drove the crew aft, but all the efforts of the Red Devils to destroy the destroyer went in vain. Eel exploded 13 seconds after the salvo, passing only 200 meters. Raising the periscope, Court carefully watched the actions of the enemy. He had the impression that the destroyer is slowing down to search for the boat sonar. It was an unpleasant moment for the crew of U-57, who had never been under depth charges before. However, the submarine commander was mistaken. The destroyer quickly disappeared from sight, leaving the Germans wondering why he did not drop the bombs and did not call for help planes and other ships. After assuring himself that there was no danger, at 15:58 Court ordered a surfacing. As the torpedoes ran out, the boat began the return to base, notifying headquarters. The only hindrance on the return trip was a storm that played out on the night of November 2021. After waiting out the weather on the bottom, U-57 continued to Wilhelmshaven, arriving there at 10:40 on November 22, 1939. Upon returning, Klaus Court reported to Dönitz that no enemy had been observed in the area of operations. While the twosome was in the surface position, special attention was paid to sky surveillance, but no aircraft ever appeared. U-57 had to remain submerged during daylight hours so as not to disturb the eyes of the numerous fishermen and steamers that followed one after another. The floating lighthouse was found to have heavy shipping traffic. Moreover, all Dutch lighthouses were burning as in peacetime. From the report of the commander of U-57 gave the impression that the area where the boat operated very promising, but Dönitz did not have the strength to raid there a few submarines. By order of the Kriegsmarine High Command, most of the submarines assigned for action in the North Sea were engaged in laying mines off the east coast of England. The Kaunas and Stanbrook were the first merchant ships sunk by an IIC-type boat. At the same time, they were the first victims of submarines with the Red Devil emblem on the deckhouse. On November 17, 1939, U-57 opened their account and soon increased it. Klaus Court and then Eric Topp, who succeeded him as boat commander, sank a total of 12 ships for 56,293 BTA, including the auxiliary vessel Durham Castle. This result was the best among Series 2 boats during World War II. After the demise of U-57 in 1940, Eric Topp became commander of the 7 U-552. Her emblem was also the red torch-bearing devil. With this drawing on the deck house, the boat fought in the Atlantic in 1941-1944, sinking 30 ships with a total tonnage of 163,756 BTA. As Eric Topp wrote in his memoirs about his emblem, 2 red devils carried torches of life and destruction. Curiously, and Court, becoming the commander of U-93, did not abandon the old emblem. True, this time it already had a different look. The red devil netfished Churchill out of the water. Court's successes on this boat amounted to 8 ships at 43,392 BT. Thus, the combined result of the Devil, U-57, U-93, and U-552 reached 50 vessels with a total tonnage of over 260,000 BRT. Thank you for watching this video to the end. Please write in the comments which scene you remember the most. Have a good day.